Are you a first-time cruiser wondering what to expect on your first cruise?
Maybe you're a seasoned cruiser that's done some other lines before and you're wondering what Marella has to offer.
Or perhaps you're already booked on the Marella Discovery and you're just wanting to know what's on board this ship.
If any one of these is you, then stick around because this is going to be the most comprehensive guide that's on YouTube at the minute for the Marella Discovery, including the highlights of the ports we go to, a ship tour, and also pain points where things haven't quite worked out as well as expected.
Before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button to show some love and consider subscribing for future episodes. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our journey began at Manchester Airport, where we checked in our bags, which would be delivered directly to our cabin, and flew to Barbados, which took around 8.5 hours. When we arrived in Barbados, we didn't get off to the best start, and we had to wait 1 hour and 20 minutes for coaches before we were able to disembark the aircraft. Without the need to pass through immigration or collect luggage, the coaches took us directly from the aircraft to the port, where again we were faced with another hour-long queue, this time to complete the ship's check-in process. Once checked in, we collected our cabin keys and made our way on board the ship. So now we're just playing the game of find our cabin.
Down the rabbit runs. Right guys, we're now on board the Marella Discovery and we've arrived at our cabin 3590, which is going to be our home for the next 2 weeks and officially the Parks Travel Guide cabin. So let's have a look and see what it's like inside.
We have got a big window, not a porthole. Oh, this is beautiful. So for the first time ever, guys, we've actually paid extra to upgrade to an outside cabin because we're here for 2 weeks. This looks awesome.
Just on that note as well about cabins, there is nothing wrong with an inside cabin because realistically all you do is sleep in there and get changed. We normally stay inside, but we thought this time, we'll treat ourselves. We're
both very tired and I think we're probably ready for a few cocktails, but we'll have a quick overview of the room. So I've got 2 bedside tables here with some storage in. So I've got a TV. Huge mirror here and another huge mirror here, which is awesome, so you can check out your full outfit, and more mirrors here actually. Basically, look at this, you can see yourself from every angle. Look at that, 3 Beckys, 4 Beckys. What would you do with 4 Beckys?
One's enough for me.
Kettle, tea, coffee and sugar. Oh, there is even a hairdryer underneath here as well. Again, more storage, and then over here is where your big main wardrobe is. So got some coat hangers there, more coat hangers there, lots of coat hangers there. So enough room to get your suitcases in at the bottom as well. Life jackets up at the top.
Well, we hope we don't need those.
We hope we don't need those. And then John, do you want to do the honours?
Well, I can't really tell you much about it. It's a bathroom. we all know what one of these is.
What have we got in here?
Toilet, shower, sink, done. That's it. I can't do anything more with that.
Body wash.
Hang on, we've got a washing line here.
Body wash. Washing line.
Oh, well, that's seen better days, hasn't it?
So that is basically our cabin. Nice sofa as well. Just in case you didn't catch that earlier. John had... Oh, you're just perusing the cruise news.
Also known as the Bible, because you need it. It tells you everything what's happening on board the ship at any given time, all your activities, introduces the crew. Right guys, first drama that we had. You know, we said that the cases would get delivered to the cabin. Well, there's been a bit of a problem. It's not Marella's fault, it's whoever handles the cruise line's fault. Nobody's case has actually turned up from the airport to the port, and they're trying to rectify it now. I mean, we've been here nearly 7 hours and there's been nobody's case that's arrived. It's only half an hour away from the port, it's crazy. But yeah, they are trying to work on it, but in order to do that, we're going to have to leave where we're berthed and move round to another area to go and wait for them. So it's going to cause a bit of a delay. Everyone's luggage was delivered during the early hours of the morning and we were finally reunited with our suitcases. 10 hours later than expected, we finally set sail from Barbados around 6 AM. Luckily the next day was a sea day, so it meant we could make up some time and still arrive into Antigua on schedule.
So, the moment you've all been waiting for, let's take you on a tour of the ship. So we're starting the tour today, guys, on deck 3. Now it is mainly just cabins down here, but you will find the photography studio and the breakout escape room.
Next up, we're on deck number 4, which is one of the main decks on the Discovery. This deck features the impressive atrium, which is the heart of the ship, and the atrium bar is the perfect place to kickstart your night. On this deck you'll also find the Broadway Show Lounge, where you can watch West End style shows in a theatre setting. Each show is on twice daily, usually 8:30 and 10:30, so you can choose which one works best for you. Be sure to catch the crew show as well. The crew have looked after you on your holiday get their chance to shine and show off their own hidden talents, and it's great that Marella still uphold this tradition. You'll also find the live lounge on this deck, which hosts live singers, and just next to it there's also the live casino if you're feeling lucky. Lastly, the 47 Degrees restaurant's also located on this deck, and it's open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. The restaurants do get busy, so if you visit at peak times, it's common you may receive a buzzer and quite a long wait time. Be mindful that most of the restaurants also have a dress code, which must be adhered to or you will be turned away.
So we're now on deck 5, which is also another main deck on board the ship. Deck 5 is the hub for all your onboard requirements. On this deck you'll find the reception desk, where the staff will be happy to assist with any inquiries that you may have. Next to reception is Destination Services, who can give you any information on ports and tours available for your itinerary. Around this area there's also several interactive touchscreens that you can use to book extras such as tours and specialty restaurants, as well as being able to view daily programmes, onboard information and any professional photographs that you may have had taken. The Navigate app can also be used on your mobile phone by connecting to the ship's Wi-Fi, where you can access the same features as the touchscreens, and you can also view your onboard account. Within this area there's also the photo gallery, where you can book in for your own private photo shoot. We'll give you more details about this later on in the video. Midship is also a shopper's paradise, as this is where the Broad Street shops are located. There's a variety of tax-free shops to cater for everyone, selling everything from handbags and clothes to daily essentials that you may have forgotten. The rear of the ship is where you'll find another onboard restaurant, Gallery 47 Degrees. This restaurant is an Italian-themed restaurant and is only open for evening dining. The limoncello cheesecake that's served here is to die for. Last of all on deck 5 is the Squid and Anchor, Marella's modern take on a British pub. This is a popular hotspot on an evening, and tables fill up really quickly with people coming in to enjoy a night of entertainment, including game shows, silent discos, and even karaoke.
So deck 6 is mainly cabins, but you will find the coffee pot in the middle of this deck. The coffee pot's a nice quiet area to relax, read a book or play a board game. I didn't use the coffee pot much, but Becky got her money's worth. If you've upgraded to premium all-inclusive, then your coffees are included. If you haven't upgraded, don't worry, you can still enjoy a coffee, but each one will just be charged to your onboard account. One thing that was annoying was that even on premium all-inclusive you still had to pay extra for any snacks and ice creams here. In our opinion, we'd have expected them to be included, but I guess that's my inner Yorkshireman coming out. Hopefully Marella can resolve this in future.
So decks 7 and 8 are just cabins only, so there's nothing exciting to show you on these decks.
Deck number 9 is very important if you like the sun, because this is the pool deck. There are 2 pools on this deck, the outside one of course being the most popular for those who enjoy basking in the sun and getting involved in the afternoon activities, which typically comprise of quizzes, music and some games as well, hosted by the Marella entertainment staff. At either side of the pool there are also 2 jacuzzis to relax in, as well as an abundance of sun lounges and of course a pool bar. On an evening the big screen also doubles up as a cinema screen, where on occasion you can watch movies under the stars. There are 3 choices of restaurants on this deck. First up we've got the Snack Shack, which is great for convenience as they offer a grab and go service for breakfast and lunch. You can choose from a selection of chilled snacks, or alternatively you can order something hot from the counter. Next is the Islands restaurant, which is another popular choice for convenience. A buffet-style restaurant that serves food pretty much all day, and there's no mandatory dress code. As well as breakfast, lunch and dinner, they also offer a typically British afternoon tea and ice creams during lunch. Lastly, there's the Glasshouse. The Glasshouse feels like its own exclusive VIP area with its stylish decor, cabanas and lighting. This indoor area isn't just a restaurant, but a great space for relaxing or going for a swim in the indoor pool on the colder days. The restaurant here specialises in tapas-inspired dishes and was our favourite restaurant on board, but this does get very, very busy. If you want to be guaranteed a table, get there when it opens. The Glasshouse also serves lunch and late night snacks. For those of you who enjoy being pampered, at the back of the ship you'll find Ocean Spa, which has plenty of treatments and packages available to suit all budgets. In the same area, there's also a gym. And a quiet veranda area for lounging around.
Deck 10 is another sun deck with lounges and a pool bar. If you want to keep fit and burn off the all-inclusive food and drinks, then there's a running track. 4 laps around Deck 10 is equivalent to 1 mile. If you fancy something a bit more challenging, at the rear of the ship there's a climbing wall. Session times are posted daily in the cruise news. Alternatively, if you're feeling competitive, there's also a 9-hole mini golf course and also a shuffleboard area. If you're travelling with children, you'll also find Marella's kids clubs on this deck too.
And last of all, we're on Deck 11. Deck 11, also called the Observatory, or for the old-time cruisers, the Crow's Nest, is where you'll find the speciality restaurants. The speciality restaurants come at an extra cost, ranging between $15.95 per person to $33.45 per person, and must be booked in advance. Up here is also probably the most lavish and sophisticated bar on board, Bar 11. An observation view bar with high-end furnishings, serving an array of premium and infused spirits, as well as speciality cocktails. I'd go as far to say as this was our favourite bar on board.
If needed, smoking areas are located on the starboard side on decks 4 and 10, and in the unfortunate event that you fall ill during your cruise, there's also a medical centre located on deck 1. So the best thing for us about cruising with Marella is that you are all-inclusive as standard, which means that you don't have to worry about a bar bill at the end of your cruise. Most cruise lines you can pay to upgrade to a drinks package which includes all-inclusive drinks, but this is not the case with Marella.
If you do like a wider selection of cocktails, ciders, even spirits, then it's probably worth you upgrading to premium for £90 per person per week, which when you look at the prices for the supplements, it kind of works out well and in your favour.
Whilst we're on the topic of onboard extras, Wi-Fi is available on board the ship at an additional cost. A lot of people did complain about how fast the data run out, but we found that as long as you disconnect your Wi-Fi when you're not using it, it did last a lot longer. If you're celebrating, Marella also have special packages that are available to purchase.
So one very important thing when you get on is lifeboat drill, and this is absolutely mandatory on any ship that you go on. Marella have made it so simple now, so before, back in the day, you used to have to go down to your cabin, bring your life jacket up, stand on deck, present yourself and be counted for. Not anymore, which is great news. So you come up to deck 4, find your little number here, so that's your muster station, so you go to that area, scan your card, and that is it. We're done. Marella, it's a great move in the right direction. It makes it so easy now and saves a lot of time as well.
Okay guys, so tonight is Dress to Impress night, which is one of Marella's formal nights. Now this is optional, you don't have to dress like this, but we love the opportunity to get dressed up in our nice dresses, fancy suits and tuxedos, and dress to impress. Marella have one of these nights per week on a cruise, so we're going to get 2 of these nights.
So Dress to Impress night, by tradition, used to be formal night, and as an old school cruiser, I still dress up in my finery like I used to back in the mid-90s. You don't always have to, but back in the day, you used to have to dress up to be allowed into some of the restaurants. Luckily, that's all changed now for a lot of people, breathing a huge sigh of relief. But for me, I still like to dust this off and get it out when I can.
And I think we scrub up quite well.
Yeah.
What do you think? So we're going to take you around now and show you a few things that go on formal nights. One of the things that you have to do on formal night, you don't have to do, but we like to, is have your picture taken. There's several stations dotted around. We've just had ours taken on deck 4 and they'll be available to view on the machines tomorrow. Something else that you really don't want to miss out on are the sail away parties, because let's face it, everyone knows the Brits know how to party. And when other ships are alongside in port, it can really make setting sail such a fun experience. Okay guys, so we are just having an onboard photo shoot now with Giselle, and this girl knows what she is doing. She is the best in the business. Yeah. We're doing various different poses. It's a great way to create memories and have something to take home with you to remember your cruise by.
So we're going to show you some of these pictures right about now.
So now that you know what's in store for you when you get on board the ship, it's time to give you a full rundown of our 2-week itinerary.
So every time you get on and off the ship, you will need your cruise card to scan at the gangway for security. When you get back on the ship, you'll also go through a brief security check where your bags get scanned just to make sure you've got no weapons or anything like that on you. You'll also need to scan yourself back on the ship to let you know you're on board. So St Kitts, what a welcome it is when you get off the ship and you come into the port area. Absolutely fantastic shops everywhere. However, there is one place that you need to go instead of the big shops. Check out the craft market. We've just bought a souvenir from local traders, and they say sometimes business can get a little bit iffy because people are all shopped out. So make sure you come and see them. They've got the stall right next to the bar. We've just bought a souvenir and it's beautiful. So not only are you supporting local people, you're getting something unique and handmade as well. explain how good that actually is. Wow. The flavours are just incredible. Absolutely amazing. After spending our last day on the cruise in Kingstown, it was time for one final farewell party. Then it was time for the disembarkation routine to begin. Cases are to be left in corridors for collection no later than 2 AM, where they'll be taken straight to the airport. And thus, another adventure comes to an end.
So guys, if you have stayed with us and made it this far, then this is the part of the episode where we are going to give a very honest review on our experience on board the Marella Discovery. So first of all, let's start with the pros. I think the main pro for us is the fact that Marella is all-inclusive. So when you are looking at cruises, the price that you see is the price that you are going to pay. That includes your flights, the cruise, the transfers, all of your food on board and drinks as well, which is great. Some cruise lines only quote you for the price of the cruise, so the fact that the price that you see is the price that you pay is a bonus.
Another good thing is Marella's staff. The staff on board have always been the jewel in Marella's crown, the same as probably any other cruise line, and they are a credit to the company, and you'll get a great service wherever you go, be that from your cabin steward all the way up to your bar staff and also the restaurant staff as well. They work exceptionally hard, as do the Marella entertainment staff on board as well. Another thing is that the staff accept that they're not going to get any gratuities like other cruise lines add on to your bill. However, you can free tip them, and this is greatly appreciated as well.
So another one on the pros is Marella's itineraries. So Marella are really good at packing lots of ports into a week's cruise with only generally one sea day, which is something that you don't really get with a lot of the other cruise lines. We visited some fantastic ports on our 2-week itinerary, and I think our favourite was probably Barbados.
So another good thing I like about Marella, and even going back to the days of Thomson, is that they use some of the older classic cruise ships, which are personally my favourite compared to the floating shoeboxes, and the staff work incredibly hard to maintain the ship and the cleanliness and everything, just to make it look like it should have done back in the day.
So the last pro for me, and probably a bit of a silly one to most people, but it's pillow chocolates. There's nothing nicer than coming back to your cabin to find that your cabin steward has left you a nice towel animal along with a couple of pillow chocolates for the evening, which is really nice because a lot of cruise lines have done away with this since COVID. So it's nice to see that Marella are still upholding that tradition.
So with the good must come the bad. Now these are only our personal opinions. You might find it different if you go on board, but we're just speaking honestly as what didn't really go that well for us in our minds after so many cruises. So the first one is probably about the entertainment. Now, on the whole, Marella's entertainment is very good. However, at some points it can be a bit slapstick, and people have compared it on board to Butlins at sea. Now, in all honesty, I can see where they're coming from in a lot of ways, but there are people that go away for that. If you're thinking along the lines of YMCA and Sweet Caroline to get you up dancing after a few, that's probably what you're going to expect on board. There's no doubt about it. But if it's for you, you're going to love that on board.
So another thing for us on the cons list is that we found there were quite a lot of people that were treating the cruise, with it being all-inclusive, as a bit of a booze cruise. Now again, if that's your thing, that's absolutely fine, but what we did notice is there were quite a few scuffles, quite a few heated arguments, and it's not really the kind of atmosphere that we wanted to be around on our cruise. But again, if this is something that you can turn a blind eye to, then go for it.
So one thing that a lot of people have talked about on the forums and everywhere is that when Marella got this ship from Royal Caribbean, they removed all the fridges from the rooms. Now, I don't understand why that is, whether it's for weight saving for fuel, but it would be nice to see a reintroduction of fridges to rooms, because if you get the bottles of water in your cabin, the room temperature, and it's not too pleasant. You can get some ice, but it's not the same as being able to put something in the fridge.
So next up is food. Now, we're not at all saying the food was terrible on board. It was okay. There were some restaurants we preferred to others, so the Tapas restaurant was probably one of our favourites. Gallery 47 for the authentic Italian probably was our least favourite, but a recommendation that came from one of the passengers on our cruise was about themed nights. Now, just an idea from Marella, we did kind of expect on a Caribbean cruise to maybe have at least one night that was Caribbean themed food. Maybe this is something that Marella may introduce in the future.
Now, the biggest bugbear of probably every passenger on board there, including myself, was that the bars just could not simply keep up. There were long queues, you were queuing at the bar, people were pushing in, it led to arguments, and just trying to get served on the whole was very, very difficult. It did seem like maybe there might have been a few less staff than normal, but otherwise, yeah, it took a while to get a drink, and it's not really what you want to do, spending 10 minutes at a bar queuing, you know, when you're on your holiday. But this was a problem. It wasn't just isolated to one bar, it was every bar.
So next one for me, again, probably something trivial, but the gym opening times. So for me, I like to get up early in the morning, go to the gym about 6:30. Get it over and done with, but the gym on board doesn't open till 8 o'clock, which meant that by the time you'd had breakfast, I couldn't really be bothered then going to the gym because I just wanted to get off the ship. So maybe if Marella could look into opening the gym earlier, that might be favourable for some people.
So the last one is about formal night, as we old school cruisers know it, or dress to impress, as Marella call it. Now, I've been cruising since 1996, so I've seen the changes from what it was to kind of what it is now and where it's going. I still like to dress up, as do a few others that were on the ship. However, we've noticed about 5% of passengers actually dressed up in the finery. Now, it's fine if you don't want to dress up, but if you do, you might feel a bit uncomfortable being in such a small minority. But if you do like dressing up, it's probably best to look at a different cruise line. So on that last point, that brings us to the end of the vlog and our review as well. All the pros and cons are our personal choice, so please don't take offence to them, because you might have a great experience, you might absolutely love it. I'm not saying we don't, we take it for what it is. So hopefully you'll go on board the Discovery and have a great time and absorb it all and actually love cruising just as much as we do.
So that brings us to the end of this video, and we really hope that you've got some useful tips from this to help you plan your cruise with Marella.
So this was our first cruise video that we've actually done and filmed. If you've seen our channel before, you'll know that we normally do multi-stop land-based trips on a budget. So if you have liked this, then not only hit that like button down below and subscribe, but let us know in the comments that you've enjoyed it, or if you've gained any information or some tips if you plan on going with Marella in the future, or you've already booked something on the Discovery.
Thanks very much for watching, guys. We've been John and Becky from Parks Travel Guide, and we'll see you on the next video.